Before dawn over Jerusalem, the city woke to a sound that had no source, no sirens, no speakers, only a trembling tone drifting over rooftops, as if the air itself remembered something it shouldn't forget. The alleys of the old city stood still, caught between night and light, while phones began to record the sky. No one claimed the sound. It belonged to no festival, no prayer, no warning. It rose, lingered, then melted into silence, leaving behind questions louder than noise. Moments later, a pale strip of light crowned the Temple Mount, steady and strange. Thousands saw it. None could name it. Some called it coincidence, others a sign. Before we continue, subscribe for more discoveries where faith meets archaeology, and don't forget to turn on notifications for our next revelation from the Holy Land. But one thought spread among them. What if Jerusalem isn't echoing? What if it's speaking? The sound ended, but something lingered, an ache in the still air. Jerusalem, usually restless, felt suspended between heartbeat and hush. Shop shutters slept. Cats paused mid-stride on old stones. Somewhere, deep under the city's pulse, dust shivered from ancient walls. People replayed the clips on their phones, each one swearing the tone was different, yet the timing the same, always before sunrise. Skeptics called it wind tunneling through alleys. Others whispered that maybe this hour, this silence, meant more than weather. In scripture and story, strange things often arrive before daybreak. That thought kept spreading, from balconies to cafes, from the faithful to the uncertain. And as the sky thinned toward gray, one quiet question ran through the city like a current. Was this the first sign? Or only the first sound? Recordings kept surfacing online. Different streets, same hour, same trembling pitch. Audio analysts drew waveforms. Believers drew parallels. Somewhere between data and devotion, a name returned. Shofar, the ancient trumpet of awakening. But the videos revealed no instruments, no celebration, no visible cause. Construction, air pressure, a glitch in crowded alleyways, all possible. Yet timing is its own message. In every clip, the tone rose when night was almost over, when the horizon was a breath away from light. In old texts, that hour meant readiness. Armies lifted their heads. Prophets listened for footsteps. Now phones glowed where torches once burned. But the question remained the same. What are we being called to notice before the morning arrives? The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was expectant. Then came the light. Not a blaze or flash, just a faint band stretched low above the Temple Mount, pale as breath on glass. It shimmered where darkness should have thickened. Cameras caught it, live streams froze it. No one could quite explain it. Some said lens flare. Others blamed the lingering moon. Scientists pointed to thin clouds bending light. But viewers kept asking the harder question, why that hour? The glow was too patient for electricity and too soft for spectacle. It held itself in the sky like a whisper, refusing to fade. Those watching felt an odd calm instead of fear, as if the city itself exhaled. A natural glow? Very likely. A reminder? Almost certain. Because in the rhythm of this city, light does not merely appear, it arrives. Not long after the light, the streets began to stir. Before dawn, when most of the city still dreamed, small groups moved through the narrow lanes, young men and women, some alone, some together, their footsteps soft against the stone. No procession, no music,
just motion, steady and purposeful, toward the western wall. They weren't tourists or tradition keepers drawn by routine. Many wore no symbols at all. Yet something pulled them from warm beds into the cold hush of morning. They stood before the wall without speeches, without cameras, whispering words too quiet for anyone else to record. Across days the pattern deepened. More came. It wasn't headline news, yet it felt heavier than one. In the hour when the world sleeps deepest, a generation is learning to kneel again. By the third week, the pattern refused to fade. Each sign, sound, light, people, stood alone like puzzle pieces scattered on stone. Yet together, they began to hum with meaning. A call, a sign, a response. Old scriptures told this rhythm again and again. The trumpet sounds, light rises, hearts return. History repeating? Or something older, a memory of how heaven speaks in code to those awake enough to hear. Crowds debated in cafes, scientists mapped sound waves, but beneath their logic lay a quieter recognition. Coincidence has rarely kept such precise time. And as each pre-dawn hour passed, the sense deepened that these were not random happenings, but rehearsals, small notes in a larger song waiting to be played aloud.
In ancient stories, the hour before dawn was sacred, the watch when prophets rose and sentinels leaned forward on the wall. Now that same hour hums again, carrying an ache of expectancy across the stones. The light, the sound, the steady return of footsteps, all arriving at the city's thinnest moment, when shadow still argues with morning. Maybe it isn't about prediction. Maybe it's about posture. Who's awake when the voice comes? Outside Jerusalem, viewers around the world began setting alarms to watch the live feeds, waiting to glimpse what locals called the quiet stirring. They didn't know what they hoped to see, only that something unseen felt near. Every dawn is a border between what was and what will be. Jerusalem now stands right on that line. Mystery never travels alone. It carries argument in its shadow. Some dismissed the events outright. Wind, weather, weary imaginations fed by social media. Others whispered that prophecy was breathing again. Between believers and analysts, a quiet friction sparked, truth pulling in two directions. Online threads tangled with disbelief and devotion, but something subtler stirred beneath the noise, the human need to explain what cannot yet be measured. Even those who mocked kept watching the next morning's streams. Even those who prayed checked the decibel charts afterward. Everyone, in their own way, leaned closer to the same horizon. For all their differences, both camps felt it, that strange weight in the air before dawn, as if the city itself was listening for its reply. Days passed, but the quiet expectancy didn't fade. It deepened. Reporters moved on. The faithful did not. The city seemed almost aware of being watched. At the wall, prayers thickened like incense, invisible, yet lingering after each voice fell silent. Nothing outwardly dramatic happened, no new flash, no storm splitting sky. And still many felt an unseen hand shaping the stillness itself. Old truths echoed. Before great change comes, hearts must turn. Before dawn, the darkest hush. Maybe this was less an announcement and more an invitation, one that asked not for theories, but readiness. Whatever the cause, the moment had already done its work. It made people look up. And in prophecy, that's often where awakenings begin, with eyes lifted, waiting for light. Now Jerusalem waits, caught between rumor and revelation. Every morning the live streams glow before the sun does, thousands watching an ordinary skyline, as if expecting it to speak again. The light returns, the air hums faintly. The young still walk the alleys before sunrise.
No declaration has been made, yet the story feels unfinished, like a breath held too long. Maybe nothing supernatural has happened at all. Or maybe something vast has begun, but softly, the way every dawn begins. Unseen first, then undeniable. The question isn't what happens next in the sky, it's what happens next in us. Because before any great awakening, the world grows impossibly still. Jerusalem stands in that silence now, and somewhere beyond it, the horizon has started to glow.